So welcome to another episode of Insights from NetSupport, and I am absolutely delighted to have Wespieser MBE on the stand today. I'm really going to try and find out what your history into education is. So I'll start with that actually.
Yeah.
So what's your history in education? What was your MBE for?
Well, let's start with the disclosure that I've never been a teacher.
Right, okay.
So sadly, now I feel like that opportunity has got away from me, but my degree was in education.
Right, okay.
And then I've been an education researcher ever since then. Prior to the pandemic, I was working for a charity that worked in the SEND sector, and I got furloughed, and I was gutted because I love work. I'm quite passionate about work and education and doing stuff. I get quite bored otherwise. And I tweeted out, I remember the tweet actually, is what does someone who reads Ofsted reports for fun going to do being furloughed? And Matt Hood over at Oak saw that, and he got in touch and said, could you set up the SEND arm of Oak National Academy?
Wow.
So that's what I did, and that's what got recognised a year or so later.
Oh, well, look, we could jump into a whole episode of insights into that sort of thing, but we're not going to talk about that today. Your current role sees you working at Teacher Tapp.
That's right.
What does that involve? We'll talk about Teacher Tapp in a second. What does your work on a day-to-day basis involve?
Well, we're a really small team at Teacher Tapp, so there's about 10 of us.
Yeah.
We've got Laura McInerney and Becky Allen, the founders. And then my job title is COO, which in a company of 10 just means the person who gets given all the jobs to do that no one else wants to do.
Right.
But yeah, we all get involved in a bit of everything. So looking at the data, sharing the data with different people who are interested in finding out what teachers think.
Absolutely. I'm a huge fan of Teacher Tapp, and I'm hopefully watching the episode you know all about Teacher Tapp as well. But just to say you've been hiding under a rock, can you share what Teacher Tapp actually is so the viewers know?
Absolutely. So it is a daily survey for teachers. Teacher Tapp is an app. You download it completely free. And it sits on your phone, and at the end of the school day, every single day, we send you 3 questions about what's going on in your school, your views on education, what's happening in your classroom that day, always different questions. And we show you how everyone else has answered. So we've got around 11,000 teachers who answer every single day. So you get to see, am I normal? Am I a bit of an outlier on this topic?
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful because, you know, once you close that classroom door, knowing what's going on in the classroom along the corridor, let alone another school or another part of the country, it's a bit of a mystery. So figuring that out is really useful, I think.
And that's what I love about Teacher Tapp, because as we shared off camera just before we started recording, when I was teaching, I would always talk about sort of data being sort of meaningless until it's been given context, and then it becomes information. And when you've got information, you can make those informed decisions, can't you? And you sort of know about your place and all these different things. So if I wanted to sort of dive into that more, we get the notifications every day at 3:30. I get them every day on my phone as well. So you just download the app from the Android
App Store or Play Store. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. So please do get involved in that. Now, you've produced a little report you're launching at Bett.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
So we wanted to look into AI. Obviously, everyone's talking about AI. We know that from Teacher Tapp stats, around half teachers have tried to do something with AI, and we wanted to check what type of AI tools teachers are using. And what we found surprised us quite a lot, actually. So most teachers at the moment are using things like ChatGPT, the kind of generic tools. Mm-hmm. They're not really using the tools that are made specifically for teachers. And that's, I think, something that's new information.
No, that's really useful. So just dive in and unpicking that a little bit. So from what you're saying there, so lots of sort of the open apps that you can just sort of go in and sort of start chatting with, and what have you, as opposed to what we sort of commonly call like the wrapper apps. Yeah. So I won't mention any products, but the ones where you press a few buttons and it will generate a lesson plan, or content for a presentation.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. And so, what do you think that might actually mean? What are the implications? Because lots of people worry, and I deliver, outside of my role at NetSupport, sort of training around using AI, and I worry about things like data privacy, safeguarding, intellectual property of teachers and of students. There's lots in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So,
no, I think you're right that those are the implications. I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing. AI and the brands and the tools that have been developed are new. I mean, we're sitting in the shiny Bett show where everyone's saying everyone's doing it, but they're not. And schools and teachers are time pressed, and they're not necessarily seeing all of the different options that are out there, especially with, you know, the way some social media sites are going, and teachers aren't using social media as much. So how are these different brands, different tools able to communicate what they do to teachers? But I think you're spot on that it's important that some of these tools need to be looked at, because they do offer you that increased security. And I think they're just probably going to be easier to use, because ChatGPT is great. Love a bit of ChatGPT. But you have to get quite good at learning how to write the prompts. Otherwise, it will just give you nonsense back, nonsense in, nonsense out.
It's garbage in, garbage out, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
But if it's been made specifically for teachers, then that feels like it might be something that everyone can use, rather than the people who are like, you know, the early adopters.
It's funny what I see when I'm talking to educators who are using these tools. Often, and I will mention one tool, RileyBot, for example. It's a tool developed by Caterham School, and educators who see it say, I can tell this has been made by somebody, a team of people who come from education, because it promotes that sort of struggle of learning, for example. It clearly sort of safeguarding sort of features built into it, flags and triggers for sort of safeguarding keywords and these sort of things as well. I wanted to dive into beyond the insights for teachers. I know that, because like you, I do read a lot of reports and things for fun as well.
Yeah.
I often see your survey results being shared beyond white papers by some companies. We talked about ClickView, for example, before. But I also see it informing things that happen in departments.
Yeah.
So what's that relationship like between, because obviously it's huge, right? So.
We are always very proud when the voices of teachers are actually listened to.
Yeah, it's so important, I think.
We like to think, and this isn't evidence informed, this is our opinion, but we think that maybe the politicians are talking slightly less nonsense nowadays, because they know that they'll get pulled up by actual statistics that say what teachers really do believe, rather than just telling teachers what they think they ought to believe. So it was a privilege when Teacher Tapp stats were cited in the AI launch the other week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's really good when they listen to it, but sometimes there's selective hearing.
What I love is that I often sort of hear politicians mentioning stuff relating to your statistics and results and things. What I also love is the fact that you then hold them to account sometimes, because they'll say stuff and then you'll ask questions to actually validate their claims and things that are said in PMQs or whatever it is, as someone formerly of education but still working in the education space, I love the fact that the impact that Teacher Tapp has, and how much it is a really good way of representing the voice of educators. So I absolutely love it. And as you can tell, I'm a big fan. If you wanted to read the report, and I saw you brought some with you.
I did.
Somewhere, I don't know where they've gone now. If you wanted to download or access a copy of this, where can people access that, Karen?
It's not actually on our website yet.
Right, okay.
You're beating us to it. We'll put a version of it on our website in the next couple of days.
Okay, and then you'll find that at teachertapp.co.uk. Brilliant stuff. Well, listen, loads and loads of stuff. I mean, the insights, the show as well, the insights you get from Teacher Tapp are obviously hugely important. But what is also hugely important, as I'm sure Karen would back me up on, is getting your voice involved in it as well. So if you're working in education and want your voice heard, get yourself the Teacher Tapp app downloaded. Check it out. So you can also follow Teacher Tapp on social media as well.
LinkedIn is great.
Connect with Karen on LinkedIn. And brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for coming over for a chat.
Thanks for the invite.
You're very, very welcome, and we'll see you on the next episode of Insights from NetSupport on our YouTube channel. Thank you.